This Miata has 30 years of scratches, oxidation, and baked on bad decisions. Today, we're going to see if she has enough paint left to save. Best case scenario, she shines like a new penny. Worst case, I burn through my own car right on camera. This is in the red. This Miata looked decent from 10 feet away. Up close, the paint was rough, dull, and full of swirls. So today I'm going to wash it, sand a few problem spots, compound it, polish it, and put a tape line right down the middle of the hood to find out if this paint can actually be saved. And if I screw this up, I get to explain why my hood is now two different shades of red. I'm using a DeWalt Rotary polisher, a foam pad for compounding, another foam pad for polish, and in a couple spots I had to do some very light ultrafine sanding first because the scratches and defects were too deep just to buff out. Before you touch the paint with a buffer, you need a clean car. Any dirt left on the surface can get trapped in the pad and turn your polisher into a very expensive scratch machine. So first, I gave the whole car a good wash to get rid of the dirt, dust, and whatever else this car has apparently been collecting for the last 30 years. The paint still looked terrible after the wash, but at least now I know the defects I was looking at were actually in the paint and not on top of it. The paint still looked terrible after the wash, but at least now I knew the defects that I was looking at were actually in the paint and not just on top of it. Now for the part where things finally start to happen. Like I said, I'm using a DeWalt Rotary with a foam cutting pad and compound. The Rotary cuts faster than a dual action polisher, but it also gets you in trouble faster. Too much pressure, too much speed, or staying in one place too long can burn the paint. I worked in one small section at a time, spreading the compound out first, and then bring the speed up and make slow overlapping passes. You want to keep the pad moving and let the compound do the work. If you're fighting the machine, you're doing it wrong. And as soon as I wiped off the first section, the difference was obvious. The paint started getting deeper, darker, and actually looked like it wanted to be red again. There were a couple areas that needed more than just compound. A few scratches and rough spots were too deep, so I lightly wet sanded them with an ultrafine paper. You do not want to get aggressive here. The point is not to sand the paint flat like you're doing body work. The point is to barely level the defect enough that the compound can finish the job. If you stay in one spot too long, you can burn through the clear and then your polishing video turns into a repainting video. After the compound, I switched to a softer foam pad and a polish. The compound removes the bigger defects, but you can leave behind a little haze, and the polish is what brings out the depth and the shine. Same process, small sections, overlapping passes, and keep the pad moving. Just with less pressure and a lower speed. This is the point where the paint stops looking cleaned up and starts looking finished. You can really see the reflections come back. The hood, the fenders, the doors finally started looking like a new car again. This is always the best part because you immediately see whether what you're doing is working or if you've just been making noise with a power tool for the last hour. Difference was huge. One side looked dull and faded, and the other side actually had a shine and reflections again. Honestly, this might be the most dramatic improvement this car has seen since I dragged it home. still got a lot more planned for this Miata, so if you want to see where this thing goes next, hit subscribe and stick around. Because this car is going to either turn into something awesome or completely ruin my free time. Probably both. If you've got an old car with dull paint, don't assume you need to repaint it right away. Sometimes it just needs the right process and a lot more patience than you expected. The hood has shine again, the sides reflect, and the color actually looks alive instead of faded. For something that looked halfway dead when I started, I'll take this all day. Once all the buffing and polishing was done, I washed the car again. That gets rid of any leftover compound dust, polish residue, and all the junk that ends up in every crack, badge, and body line. You think you're done until you look at the car in the sun and realize there's compound packed into every seam like someone dumped flour on it. The second wash also lets you see the real finish without any leftover residue hiding the results. After the second wash, this thing looked completely different. The paint still isn't perfect, it's an old car, and there are still some deeper marks that would need to repaint to fully fix. For a 30-year-old Miata, this came back way better than I expected. It still has some flaws, but so do I. The best part is, we didn't even have to spend body shop money. If you got an old car with some faded paint, stop looking at it, do something about it, put a little love into it, a little rub into it, and who knows? Worst case is you learn. Best case scenario is it looks like it should have years ago. Next up, we're going after this Miata. We're going after the suspension, maybe a modernized ignition system, some wrap ideas, heck, maybe even some bad decisions. Hit subscribe if you want to see where this thing goes. This is In the Red, where we have real money, real builds, and real problems.